welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something super focused and honestly kind of cool. We're going to take just one single stunning image and totally unpack the wealth of science hidden right there in plain sight. Literally, no distractions, just a deep dive into what one single frame of nature can teach us.
So here's the big question. How much history is actually hidden in a single photograph? Usually we just scroll right past images like this in our feeds without a second thought. But today, we're going to see how a really quick glance can transform into this incredibly deep, layered visual journey. Take just a second to really absorb the sheer grandeur of this landscape. We are looking at a vast, snow-dusted mountain range, this beautiful winding river cutting right through the center valley, and some absolutely dramatic light hitting those peaks. It's a breathtaking mountain vista caught perfectly at that magical intersection of day and night. All right, Section 1, the art of looking closer. We're going to examine this exact same landscape through three totally distinct lenses: the geologist, the ecologist, and the photographer. So what are the elements of a deep read? Well, here are the specific features we're going to hunt for as we deconstruct things together. We'll be looking for the alpenglow, that rosy reddish light up on the high peaks, then the dendritic or branching river patterns down in the valley, the really sharp contrasts of the snow lines, and finally, those deep topographical shadows. Basically, these are our main visual clues. Because the absolutely crucial point here is that a landscape is not just a place, it's an active Earth system. By shifting our perspective, we stop seeing just a static picture. It's constantly in motion, even when it looks completely still to us. It is this dynamic, moving story of light, water, and time. Moving into our next section, anatomy of the peaks. We'll start with the grandest structures in view and learn to read these massive rocks exactly like a geologist would. Now, look really closely at the sharp contrast along those ridges. Notice the jagged edges and the harsh exposed rock faces near the summits. They're revealing an epic, ancient battle. You are literally witnessing tectonic uplift pushing the Earth skyward, often at the exact same speed your fingernails grow, which is wild, constantly battling against the relentless, grinding forces of wind and ice that are just trying to tear it all back down to the valley floor. Just imagine the crisp, dangerously thin air and the freezing temperatures way up there. At those highest sunlit summits, the environment is just brutal. It's a high-altitude world defined by freezing temperatures and constant exposure, where the snow manages to cling only to the steepest drops and the deepest crevices. All right, on to our second lens, the river's carving power. Let's move our eyes down from those towering peaks and see how gravity and water are working together to shape the Earth below. Look right down the center at that deep, plunging V-shape of the valley. That winding, meandering river you see tracing its way through the bottom, it's not just sitting there. It's actively carving this valley floor, carrying rock and sediment away, grain by grain, year after year. And this brilliantly illustrates something massive happening all in a single moment, the complete visual journey of water. So at step 1, you've got the frozen snowpack resting heavily on the peaks. Step 2, melting kicks in and gravity pulls that water relentlessly downward. And finally, step 3, the winding river basin collects it all and carries it away. It's so cool. It starts as solid ice at the very top and then flows away as liquid at the absolute bottom. Now for our final lens, the golden hour effect. Here, we're focusing entirely on the behavior of light and how it completely paints the landscape. Let's compare these two incredibly distinct visual zones. On one hand, we have the sunlit peaks, radiating those warm golden tones and offering really high visibility of the exposed, jagged rock. But then, on the other hand, we have the shadowed valleys down below, bathed in these cool blue tones, where the details are obscured by dense, frozen forests. This direct contrast perfectly shows us how light completely dictates the mood, the temperature, and even the focus of a landscape. Now, zero in on those wisps of mist clinging to the mountainsides on the left. See how the low-angle golden hour light actually catches the mist? It highlights the very moisture hanging in the cold air, which gives us this beautiful glowing visual indicator of the atmosphere literally interacting with the mountain's microclimate. Which brings us to our final takeaway, a frozen moment in time. Bringing all these elements together, we realize this isn't just a lucky shot, it's an absolute masterpiece of timing. Just think about the sheer scale of what we're looking at here. There's a quote, A photograph captures millions of years of geology illuminated by a fraction of a second of light. We are seeing incredibly ancient, slow-moving Earth processes, like tectonic shifts in glacial carving, suddenly and beautifully lit up by a fleeting, magical moment of a sunrise or sunset. So take it all in one last time, but actually do it with your new understanding. See the harsh snow lines, trace the river's slow carving power in the valley, and really feel those contrasting temperatures of the shadow and the golden light. It's geology, hydrology, and light, all united in one frame. It's crazy how much richer the view becomes once you actually know how to read it, right? I really hope this explainer has completely changed the way you view the natural world. It just proves that the closer you look, the more the world reveals to you. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Next time you look at a landscape, what invisible stories will you search for? Whether you're standing outside or just scrolling on a screen, will you just see a pretty picture? Or will you search for the invisible stories written right there in the stone? Thanks for joining me on this deep read, and as always, keep learning and keep looking closer.